Hello there. After the horrendous Frankland Prison attack, it's become all too clear that our whole justice system is topsy-turvy, with the Prison Officers Association saying their members should be issued with stab vests and tasers, and that terrorist prisoners should be kept under a supermax prison regime of only being allowed out of their cells to eat, for visits, exercise and medication. What? You mean they should be treated as inhumanely as Tommy Robinson is being treated right now, in order, they claim, to keep him safe? That would never do, would it? Well, I've got a suggestion to get the ball rolling. Instead of tying up 25 cells, yes, 25 cells to keep Tommy locked up in segregation, why not let him go? A non-violent civil prisoner. Let him out on licence, on a tag, under house arrest. Then put whoever attacked those 3 prison officers, allegedly Islamist terrorist Hashim Abidi, in there to take Tommy's place. What do you think, Richard?
Jeff, well, I'm surprised they're not letting this gentleman out of prison for attacking the prison officers. I mean, let's face it, they get preferential treatment, it seems, don't say they. I can't think of what I'd be talking about there. No. I mean, this gentleman, this lovely gentleman who's just done this terrible thing to these prison officers, he's kept there at the taxpayer's expense, is he not? Yeah,
oh, yes.
Well, okay, so I'm just trying to think, is there another alternative to keeping this person, this violent person? Is there another alternative to keeping him locked up?
Yes.
I'm trying to think. Okay.
Yes, there is one, right. But it's a bit noosey.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, has a noose theme to it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, well, yeah. I don't know, Jeff. Yeah. I just think it's a little bit. Look, we've got two-tier system. We know that, but it's been rubbed in our noses right now that these gentlemen, as you sort of in a conversation we had earlier, Jeff, this gentleman, I'm trying to be as polite as I possibly can here. He's able to cook his own meals, is he not? Is Tommy Robinson allowed to cook his own meals? Is he allowed anywhere near a kitchen or anywhere with his hot oil?
Well, the thing is, you see, that under his regime, he's too frightened of getting the food from the kitchens at all. So even if he could cook it, it would mean getting what could possibly be adulterated food, because it's adulterated by someone who wants to do him harm. So what he does is he orders in tinned fish, basically, cans of tinned fish. That's about it. And a few other bits of sealed food. So it's very difficult for him to get a proper balanced diet.
Can't he prepare his own food from raw produce at all? Why can't he do that? Is Tommy Robinson such a danger to people? That's what I want to know. It sounds like right now it shouldn't just be prison officers who wear stab-proof vests. Tommy himself, if he was to ever enter the prison population, would have to wear one. I mean, this is just getting beyond a joke. We've got people being let out of prison who are, let's face it, pretty damn dangerous, okay? And people with some pretty damn dangerous ideologies are allowed to walk our streets. Yet you have Tommy inside, and not just him. Let's not forget Lucy Connolly as well. She is in prison right now, and that is just, I mean, this is beyond a joke, this is. It makes me absolutely sick to the pit of my stomach that woman is in prison. Okay, let alone not being allowed to see any visits to see her children. I mean, what threat is this woman? Who are these judges who are making these decisions? Who are they? For goodness sake, it's getting too much, because I just keep on hearing about XYZ law. Oh, they broke this, they did this, that contravenes this, that contravenes this. I don't care. What is the actual outcome of this situation? You have decent, good people in prison, behind bars, and yet you have utter thugs able to wander about our streets right now. People with dangerous ideologies. What is going on in Britain? I've had an absolute gutsful, Jeff. I am done with this. Honestly, I swear to you, it's just disgraceful.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it really does. You just look at the whole justice system, and it just seems that if you're of the majority demographic and you say something about something, and the authorities and someone complains, it only takes one person to complain, and bang, you're in nick. Whereas other people can wander about with blades, doing all sorts of things to our youngsters, and everybody just think, oh well, that's all for the sake of diversity, isn't it? That should all make us sit up and take notice. This has got to end. It really has got to end. And if these
Yes.
people are doing vile, nasty things, and then they go to prison and do vile, nasty things, they need to be locked up, not a civil prisoner for contempt of court being kept in tighter conditions than these people wandering about.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's just disgraceful. So there's a Maca 419, and you'll do nothing about it at all. Actually, no. We are trying to get ourselves involved with our local neighbourhood watches, right? You might think, well, what's that got to do with anything? That's got everything to do with everything right now, okay? Our streets are not safe. We have dangerous people walking our streets, okay? Get involved in your neighbourhood watch, okay? Lots of you. Tell your friends. Get involved, okay? Keep an eye out on the streets yourself. Report it to the police. Keep your eye out. And if you don't feel very safe just being out there by yourself on the street, call a couple of your mates. Get about 20 of them, 30 of them, just to stand around so you can just see what's going on the streets. You can all bear witness to what's happening. You don't do anything else other than just watch what happens, by the way. But your friends will be there to bear witness, because if you're not feeling safe, if anything were to happen to you, we all need to come together as a nation, join our neighborhood watches, sign the pledge. There are many things we can do now. We have these local council elections coming up. Okay, who is there to vote for? Well, I mean, right now, there's Reform, and I'm going, Reform aren't looking very pretty at the moment. Let's just say that. Is there anybody else then we can vote for? No. Oh, okay. I mean, come on. Please tell me, is there anyone else we can vote for in these local elections? Okay, you've got UKIP, but UKIP are not going to be able, they're not going to garner enough support to make a difference. That's going to be a wasted vote. Even though I quite like UKIP and I like Nick Tenconi and I like the way that party's going. What can we do? Because I saw you, Maca 419, you've raised a really good point here. What are we going to do about this? Because we can't just sit around here talking about this all the time. We have to get out and do things. I'm afraid to say it's going to have to be some kind of support for Reform, as far as I'm concerned, for now. And I hate saying that. I really do. I don't really like the party at the moment with everything that's going on there. Until something else comes along, something substantial and formulated, I can't do it, because right now, Labour are so bloody dangerous. Okay? That's the long and short of it. We've got a political party in power right now that hates us, that just wants you and I, ordinary working class white people, okay? Well, I'm not exactly white, even though I'm looking good, right? Bit of shaving rash, mine, but there we go. Hey, but look, they just want us gone. They don't want us in this country anymore. They want another demographic taking over. Yeah. That's it. Sorry.
Yeah, and Tommy Noble, perpetual student, says, this is Tommy phobia. The establishment has an irrational fear of an uprising. Could well be rational. Never mind. Yeah, but no, things are looking really, really bad. And you've got to remember that this the alleged perpetrator of this crime in this prison is already in life for the death of 22 innocent people. He was involved in that. He's got nothing to lose now. In fact, according to some of his demographic, he has everything to gain in the afterlife with this sort of action. So, you know, it's one of those things that he needs to be dealt with harshly, that person, whoever it was that did that. And all they seem to be doing is taking it out harshly on people who complain about these people and what they're doing. And that's just not good enough. That's the problem. If there was a capital punishment referendum tomorrow, I think it'd go through. I really do. And there's a lot of reasons not to have it, but full DNA evidence, if someone is seen on a film, 50 witnesses, and they put their hand up, I mean, where is the doubt there? Yeah. I just find it amazing.
I don't know how I feel about it myself, Jeff. I honestly don't. Part of me
Yeah.
says absolutely I support of it. Part of me says no, because I don't want the state making any decisions on life and death. Sorry, I don't. I don't trust the state, the establishment enough. Okay, good comment here by Panov Scouser. Reform have been infiltrated. Yes, I do believe that is true. I very much believe that is true. And I don't particularly like reform as it stands in its leadership anyway. There are some great people on the ground level, though, in reform. That's the other side of it. It seems like a wonderful party ready to be taken over, but that's not going to happen, I don't think. And we're in a very sticky situation here, Jeff. At least part of me is glad that we've got 4 years until the next general election. So if there is an alternative to reform, there is just about enough time for the people to get behind it, providing it is backed fully with the money from, say, someone like Elon Musk.
Yeah.
That might be, it can be done. As for UKIP, I like UKIP. I like them a lot, but, don't listen to me. I'm just some idiot just shouting at you. But no, UKIP.
We all know that. We all know that, Richard.
Okay.
That's a given.
I was just waiting for that. Yeah, but UKIP have got, under Nick Tenconi, there's a lot of good things there. There's a lot of good things. Do I think it'll push over the finishing line? No, I don't. Not right now. And that's a shame, because I do like a lot of stuff going on there. I think it's just, unfortunately, we've got the basis of Britain. I mean, who was it? Oh, good grief. Who was that idiot? Tony Blair. He said that the general elections and political parties win. Okay, they're won. They always win in one situation, and that is when they take the centre ground. So general elections are won on the centre ground. Now, I got a funny feeling that is still very much endemic in the psyche of a lot of the country, and it's a difficult one, Jeff. It is difficult, because
I view it
right as well.
I view it that that what people or what the politicians will tell you is the centre ground is actually well to the left of centre. That is where everyone thinks that's where the mindset of the country is, left of centre. That's where they like woke. They like mass immigration. They want the rubber dinghies coming across. That's what they think. That's what they think. And that's why they do what they do, because they live in their little Westminster bubble. What they don't realise that most people are now to the right of centre. And I think that's where the centre ground is right now.
Yeah.
And that's
I think people
why
changed
Labour, that's why Labour no one turned out to vote Labour, did they? They were just upset about the Tories for being on that left ground perceived centre ground where it's not there anymore. That's gone. And I'm afraid that a lot of people, including some people in Reform, are still thinking that that's where the game is. And it's not anymore, I don't think.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll go back to one of the points that I was sort of made earlier on. So, being kept alone in a cell except for eating, visits, exercise and medication is, according to the Prison Officers Association, a supermax regime. That's what they want to impose on this guy. But they're already imposing it on Tommy. So obviously, this perpetrator of this latest crime was not in that supermax regime, but Tommy was. Does that sound right to you? Oh, and cleaning empty and unused cells is not what I call work, because he's still in solitary in a cell, but just scrubbing it. That is just a perpetuation of the regime. And
exactly.
They're calling that. Yeah.
It annoys the hell out of me, that does. I don't know if you some of the transcripts, and you were in court the other day, well, on 2 occasions actually with Tommy, and you find that a lot of one of the points being put forward by the prosecution are linked towards Tommy. Oh, Tommy does get out and about. He does do bits and pieces, and you think, really? How can you frame this with such conviction, knowing the reality of that man's life? Utterly despicable, I find it. Sorry, quick one here, Jeff, slightly off where you were going with this. John Smith just left a comment. I stopped voting for Labour after Blair. Do you know what? John Smith, God bless you. Welcome into this chat to this channel, and I'm sure you've been here before, but it's good to see somebody who says, I used to vote Labour. And, the old left in this country, there's so many people who are moving from the old left to the right now, which is very interesting, or what we call the right. It's not even the right. It's authoritarianism versus basic common sense and allowing people to do what they want to do. Don't forget, it was Michael Foot who used to identify himself as a socialist libertarian, which might seem like a complete contradiction in terms, but he believed it actually in a much smaller state than what we're seeing today. But yeah, very interesting. This is very nuanced, and it's lovely to see more Labour supporters coming into the channel, Jeff. Not because we were returning to the left, but because people are just saying, hang on a second, all I believe in is an egalitarian society or a fair society. All I want is decent infrastructure for the public services. It doesn't mean I believe in woke X, Y, and Z and mass immigration. Those are two different issues they are.
Well, it's very interesting you say that, because a lot of people, and this is dangerous for Labour, the Lib Dems and Greens, everybody now thinks they are totally woke. They think that left wing is woke. If I go back to the left wing of the 50s and 60s, they weren't woke.
No,
they still believed in Britain. They still believed in Britain, and they still believed that the country came first. This is a new thing, but the trouble is, Labour, the Greens, the SNP, and all those lefties are now being tarred with that awful woke brush. You're all woke. You're all the same, and that's as bad for them as, because what's going to happen when it eventually reverses, which it will somehow or other, it will reverse, because people will speak in the end and vote for more right-wing parties. They will. That's what's going to happen. And then suddenly everyone will go, oh, everything else is woke. And it's going to once again damage the opposition. There won't be an opposition, a proper opposition, like there isn't at the moment. So it's a dangerous path to go down, this woke lark. Go woke, go broke. And that is politically as well.
Well, let's look historically here at people like Tony Benn. Okay, Tony Benn, don't forget, he was completely against the EU, as was Michael Foot, incidentally. Yet the woke brigade now, we're still European. Yes, you can. They've all their Facebook things. They still got it saying still European. Okay, we get it. Yeah. Anyway, but also Tony Benn, I believe, was not very happy with Radio Caroline back in the 60s. And wanted that shut down as well. So that's an interesting one. So you can hardly say he was part of that sort of progressive, sort of 1960s flower power, anything goes, which I think was I used to love all that when I was a teenager. Looking back, I was obviously too old, too young to remember the 60s. I wasn't even born then. But you actually look back at the 60s, and I remember growing up as a teen thinking, oh, listen to that music. Wow. I was listening to the Stone Roses and things like that and whatever. But, but it was, I also romanticize, many people these days romanticize the 1960s, like this incredible change, such a wonderful epoch in our history. It wasn't. Oh, it very much wasn't. No, there's a lot to be said for that.
Dukey Lady, I have to bring this one up, Dukey Lady. 3 ruined lives and 3 families whose lives have changed as well. That's the big point. In my anger at the beginning, because I was a little bit angry, I should have said that our thoughts and prayers should be with those that were injured and their families. This is horrible. The female prison officer, as I gather, has been let out of hospital. I don't know how badly injured or whatever she was, but the 2 men, the male prison officers, I gather, were in an extremely bad way, if the reports are anything to go with. And our hearts should go out to them. My God, what their families must be going through. It's awful at this time.
Mean, we're allowing this to take place in our country. We're allowing evil to metastasize and to take over places, not just like, the prisons are obvious sort of examples, because that's where the worst of the worst, hopefully, or should end up behind bars. But we know this is on our street corners. We know this is right through our country. That's it. That's Britain. Live with it, people. Otherwise, what else is the choice? What other choice do we have? And here's another thing, incidentally, about reform. There's one very, very good thing I want to raise here, because whilst we have no credible alternative, electable, I should say, not credible, electable alternative to reform in the council elections, and also in the upcoming general election in 4 years' time. Whilst that's the case, we have got time now to look for other people to come forward. But until that happens, there's nobody out there credible. So there's one good thing about voting reform. We know we have given that one last chance to democracy. And that's the way people will be thinking right now. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people I'm hearing who are saying that, well, if reform don't do the job, well, what are we left with? Well, I'm not going to suggest that there's an alternative to democracy. Oh, goodness gracious me, no. Perish the thought. But that's the way a lot of people are thinking. So if reform does fail, Nigel Farage, if you do fail, what do you think's going to happen? If you don't quell the anger that is up and down this country, as you rightly said, Jeff, you've got prison officers who have been, they're just doing their bloody job, right? They have been attacked, and this is a horrific attack, this is, with the boiling oil and being stabbed. This is horrific, okay? This is absolutely pure evil. So, I mean, Nigel Farage, you can see what's going on. People are fuming. What?
Yeah.
You've got to come up with something better than, we can't do all these deportations. We can't do all this. Okay. Well, your friend Donald Trump is doing it.
Yes. Now, one thing that does sort of, every time something like this happens, the first thing the establishment does is panics about a backlash. So I'm wondering if the establishment, fearing some sort of far-right backlash and any misinformation, has further geared up protection for the houses of worship of a certain demographic, and is also now trawling social media to crack down on any mention of this, because we mustn't prejudice any forthcoming trial, must we? And that's what always seems to happen. Ordinary people don't need protection because you've all got privilege.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Privilege. Discrimination, I call it. I mean, they're discriminating against white police officers now. You can't have white police officers, not for recruitment. That was another story that was going about a few days ago, and I thought, bloody hell. I mean,
well, it's a bit worse.
Is there any
than
place
that.
left for white people in this country? Is there, in terms of the establishment's viewpoint on this, on the white population?
No.
Is it? No. No, it just makes me sick.
When that story broke about the police, I thought, well, this just proves the whole two-tier society we now live in. They want you to pay the tax, and if there was, God forbid, a war, guess who would be the first sent to the front lines? Because there has already been talk about keeping a certain demographic away from the front line. Yes, there has. Now, it's worse than that. If you want to join the police from the majority demographic, you'll be held back until they've got got everyone else into a job. Then if you do get to join and you work really hard, assiduously, you do loads of overtime for free, you do all the reports, you do everything, pass all the exams, then there's a promotion. Guess what? They didn't want you in the first place. They ain't going to promote you. As far as I'm concerned, there needs to be a sort of a white sort of strike on recruitment to the police. If they don't want you, don't apply. There's other jobs you can go and do. That would be my view. I wouldn't apply to the police if I was a youngster these days. When I was a youngster, you had to be over 6 foot tall anyway, and I'm just a bit short of that. but yeah, it's that's the situation we're in now. and it's spreading. It's spreading. It's not going away. It's not going away. This whole thing is not going away. All the people at the top who've been through the great Marxist march through the institutions, love this. They think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And they'll just keep doing it, and they'll find ways around it. So if they don't want you, don't be there. And suddenly they'll find out they haven't got enough people. I think that's half the reason of this endless migration and letting everybody in, because that's what they want to do. It's what it seems to me. I can't think of another reason.
Yeah, but David Cameron, that video was unearthed, wasn't it? Of him saying, we want you in the people in from a certain demographic in the top jobs, and you think, okay, that's what you want. Fine. Thank you, David. We know where you stand on that matter. And the thing is, though, Jeff, I mean, Farage has changed his tune so much recently, and at the same time, here I am saying people vote for Farage, not for Farage, for reform. I find it very difficult. I find it very difficult because the thing is, why I want reform to get in, to get in, is the same reason I secretly wanted Labour to get in. You wanted Labour in? That's right, I certainly did, because I wanted people to see the horror of Labour. Now that it's actually here, my gosh, it's 100 times worse than I could ever have imagined. And there's so many people out there who are probably, there's a generation now who sort of romanticized Labour Party. There's a lot of people in that generation now who are now turning to reform, who are turning to the right. A lot of the Generation Z is whatever they're called. They're all turning to the right. And if Labour hadn't got in, probably this sort of would have been building up, this sort of move and this romanticization of the left. And if Farage doesn't do the business, if he gets in and he doesn't do the business, that's it. I'm afraid I think that would be the tipping point for most people. I think that would be it. Yeah. I'm not going to say what I think would happen then.
No, please don't. Yeah. No. Now, Blacksmith02 says, when you vote, take a black pen with you. This is because people think they rub ballot papers out and put a cross somewhere else. If you use a pencil, the trouble is if they're going to do that, they may as well just replace the ballot paper if they can. Anyway, or the whole box. So, and the whole point about using a pencil is that if it gets wet, it doesn't transfer ink onto other ballot papers, which then spoils the other ballot papers. I looked this up ages ago, and I said, why do they use pencils? And that was the reason given, because if in the transporting between one area and another, they get wet through rain, getting through the little slots and all the rest of it, it can transfer ink onto other ballot papers and potentially put crosses on other ballot papers and spoil them accidentally. So that's why they use a pencil. Now, the one thing that I will point out is that when I first started monitoring elections years ago, they used to bring the ballot boxes were sealed with these tie wraps, and then when it was brought in to to where it was going to be counted, they cut the tie wraps off in front of everybody and then poured the ballot papers out onto the desks so that people could start shuffling through them, arranging them into the relevant piles. And there were people around like me watching every move they made. You used to have 20 or 30 people just watching them from different parties. Nowadays, what they do is the ballot boxes arrive and they're taken into a back room. They are then untie wrapped and then brought into the main counting area. Now, as far as I understand it, under legislation, candidates do have the ability, the right, actually, to use special security tie wraps and put their own tie wraps on the ballot boxes before they're taken into the counting house. And then they should be the ones who witness them being cut off before it's put, and it should all be done in public. I hate this stuff. It happened a couple of years ago, well, say 3 or 4 years ago, it started when I thought, wait a minute, they've got all the ballot boxes in the back room, they bring them out already opened, and then and I'm thinking there's something wrong here. That needs to be tightened up as far as
Jeff,
I'm
I look at, when I look at the results, for instance, was it is it Northwest Leicestershire for Andrew Bridgen?
Andrew Bridgen.
Yeah, I saw the amount of votes he got on that, and I thought, no, sorry, I'm not buying that. I mean, there was something didn't add up as far as I'm concerned on that one. But there we go. Sorry, Muttley. Yeah, wait till reform get in. You think it's bad now? That's a very good point. And the thing is, you might actually be right. And here's me saying, "Go on, guys, vote reform." I think, but that's the point. This is the last hope. This is the last shout for democracy. If this doesn't work, we've got a big problem, and we've all got to face up to it right now. Okay, if reform doesn't get into power, and if reform is not the party that we all thought it was, when it gets in, then oh my goodness. Because I'm hearing, so Jeff, you and I have these discussions where we go through the comment sections of the newspapers, through social media, and we just come to the same conclusion that people are at tipping point. They really are. They're right there. And I'm thinking, okay, well, let's keep it sensible. Let's keep it sane. Let's focus on the one last democratic route out of this. I don't think UKIP are going to do it. I don't think they're going to. I mean, they could possibly if you had billions thrown into them by Elon Musk, and if the political establishment seemed to, continue to sort of band together, because that's the way it's looking like reform is going as well at the moment. I don't see reform standing out as any sort of outlier in this matter. I don't hear them saying anything that, if anything, I'm hearing better rhetoric coming from Robert Jenrick, or should I call him Robert Rhetoric?
Well, that is a big problem, because since Rupert Lowe was forced out, he seems to have been doing all the spade work with the deep, attacking the establishment that needed to be done. That seems to have fallen by the wayside. And believe it, where did I read that the other MP for reform, the fourth MP for reform, who no one can remember his name, has also joined the effort with Rupert Lowe with his new groomer funding, the crowdfunding. He's got behind that as well, and I'm not sure that,
he's part of
Nigel Farage will be very happy about that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Oh, and thank you to Wisdom Nuggets and Tidbits for your contribution. Thank you, gents, for your hard work and taking a stand for the UK, where we do our best. And
that was a salute, by the way.
Sorry?
So I just did a salute. I didn't want anyone to think I was doing an Elon Musk. My love to you. It was a genuine salute. And yes, thank you, Wisdom Nuggets and Tidbits. Thank you.
Yeah.
There's another comment here by Bowser Head Teacher. It's time to reclaim our living space, reclaim our soil, reclaim our culture, reclaim our homeland. Now then, Neighbourhood Watch. I know it sounds ridiculous, but Neighbourhood Watch is definitely, I think, the way to go, because if you get involved in that, you can start not necessarily reclaiming, but at least you're putting the eyes out there. Okay, you're putting the eyes out there. You can contact the police. If the police don't turn up, make a note of it. Film it. Record it. If they do nothing, at least crime will be monitored better. We all need to be monitoring crime. And there's a specific type of crime as well that I have noticed that has been increasing since Tony Blair came to power. And I can't think what that is. It's just escaped my memory. I can't think of what that would be, Jeff. Never mind.
David Craig says, why are the government telling the British people to stock up for 72 hours on what's coming our way, or is it more fear-mongering? It's one of those things that they like people to have, or they didn't used to, but except during, war, pestilence and all the rest of it, they need you to have a small stock of stuff just to rely on. Personally, I think we've got blackouts coming. I really do. We're going to keep running our power system into the ground, and it's going to have to be rationed in some form or another. And if you do need something as a backup, because you can't go shopping, because if there's no power, you can't buy anything with your old digital card and all this sort of thing. And even if you got cash, they can't open the till to take it anyway.
Yeah.
So we really do depend on that. As an aside on that, I read the other day that the AI is exploding so fast and so hugely that it's soaking up more and more electricity all the time. It's massively gaining more and more share of our electricity supply. So the more we use AI, in fact, the more electricity we're going to use, and it's going to grow exponentially, the amount of power it needs. So, advances come with all sorts of problems. So there you go.
Yeah.
Electricity. So we will get blackouts.
Good comment, sure. Kenny's Craig. I think that's crack. It means, I think it is. I might be wrong. It might be Craig. Anyway, start going to church and chat afterwards. A great way to make plans in private. Absolutely. Plans for your future salvation. Couldn't be anything else, could it? Absolutely not. But start going to church. That is the ultimate thing to do. I mean, that is the ultimate act of rebellion in this world, especially against this system. Which, I mean, how often do you hear Nigel Farage talking about his Christian faith, his great, wonderful Christian faith? He hasn't got one by the looks of it. If he does, it must be it's a private thing, maybe. Don't you hate that, Jeff, when people say, oh, yeah, yes, I'm a Christian. I have a faith of a belief, but it's a private thing. I think, what? Really? Oh, okay. Great courage of conviction there. No, we all need to get to church. We all need to find a church and be part of a church and a community and a body of Christ. That's what we need to do. We need to get this country back to the foundations that it was built on. We need to rebuild and reinforce those foundations because they're rotting right now. Secularism brought this in. I know many of you are not Christian watching this. Okay, I get it. I wasn't a Christian. Jeff, and up until quite recently yourself, you were not a Christian, But
well, I was.
Yeah.
But it was private.
yeah, exactly. Yes. Yes, we soon.
Anyway, Danny Whelan says they're lowering the voting age to 16. Yeah, I didn't see that in their Labour manifesto this time. It was in the previous one, but I didn't find it in the latest one. Maybe I missed it. However, Keir Starmer, I believe, has recently said, oh, yes, during this parliament, we will give 16-year-olds the vote. And I was thinking to myself, does that mean 16-year-olds will now be in the call-up for war? If they can get the vote, they need to be on the call-up for war. They need to be allowed into pubs. They need to... I don't care. If everybody thinks that everything else they do... No, you can't do that. They're too young. Then they're too young to vote, as far as I'm concerned. It's called the age of majority. It used to be 21 when I was a kid, but then it was changed to 18. If you're going to make 16-year-olds vote, if you're going to let them vote, let them have the age of majority at 16. And that's it. As far as I'm concerned, they can do the lot, or they can't vote.
Yeah. Well, this could turn, though, I think, because so many people under the age. I mean, Generation Z is quite a broad age spectrum. It's the younger end of Generation Z that I'm noticing is moving more to the right. So if they want to lower the age to 16, that could actually be a very interesting move, because you might find that a lot more votes are coming in for parties like Reform, for instance, or UKIP, and not going towards the left. I mean, but the left's finished. I mean, my gosh, what percentage of the British population voted of those who can vote voted for Labour?
35%, 20% went to Labour. That was about it, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, my goodness, how many of those people will be voting Labour? Will be re-voting for Keir Starmer? It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. I mean, for goodness' sake. I think
here's two words I didn't think I'd see together. Kenny McDermott, I'm Scottish and UKIP.
Well, absolutely. Why not? There's plenty of Welsh as well.
I've known some very, very fervent UKIPers, Scottish. Yeah. They are.
Well done, Kenny.
Quite a lot. But they're the ones, remember, in Scotland that that got Nigel Farage locked up in a pub. They thought it was a bad thing, locking Nigel Farage up in a pub. Bad.
Yeah, I know a little bit more about that incident, and I'm going to remain silent on that one.
Yeah. Anyway, Now, just to get back to topic, which we were starting off with, was that really it's just topsy-turvy when a civil prisoner on contempt of court is in what amounts to a supermax prison regime as described by the Prison Officers Association, and the people that are locked up for being involved in the deaths of 22 people, children included, are sort of, it's a bit easier for them because you've got to be nice to them. Prisoners have human rights. Well, some prisoners have human rights, others don't seem to have, especially if they've done hurty words on something or other. And then they have children that rely on them and they're told they can't visit them. I mean, yeah.
What kind of country are we in? What kind of country? I'm sorry, Lucy Connolly, as far as I'm concerned, is it Connolly or Con? I can't remember Connolly, isn't it? But my brain has gone to sleep here. I'm terribly sorry. I haven't had much sleep. There we go. But and honestly, as far as I'm concerned, for that woman to be in prison right now, it's a national embarrassment. It is a disgrace. Okay, Britain, as far as I'm concerned, it's not broken. It's utterly shattered. Okay, this country is shattered. All right, we are fragmented. Who do you know out there that's got a positive onward, looking forward to the future? How many people out there are positive? Oh, yes, this is going to happen in the future. How wonderful. We've got nothing to look forward to right now. How do you think the next generation feel as well? They're coming up behind us, okay? They're coming up behind, and what have they got to look forward to? They're not going to be able to afford a house. They know that they're second-class citizens in this country. What future have we given them? It's us. We've done this. Our generation. And it's this constant back and forth between Tory, Labour. They're the same bloody party. And now we've got reform, and there's some wonderful people in the reform in the background. But I'm sorry, the leadership at the top is letting the party down. Now that needs to change. Nigel Farage, you can still change this around. Is there a man inside there, Nigel? Is there a man in there who can do this and turn this around? Come on. It's up to you, because the alternative is not worth thinking about. Sorry, carry on, Jeff.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Fat Cat, for your contribution. Freedom GB should be the name of a new unifying right party. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of names out there, but I get where you're coming from. But right now, what we need is the party that was set up to do this, Reform UK, to step up to the mark and do it, and really do it. But I don't see that coming through at the moment. I'm just hoping, well, yeah, if as Richard says, if they don't succeed, we're in for a very torrid future. And also, thank you to Anthony Cole. I'm going to have to read this one carefully. People with learning disabilities are being charged for their personal care services for over 15 years in Lewisham. People now live in supported living and outreach. Yeah, there's one of the things here is I don't think the people in Britain are getting the services they pay for, because the money is being basically stolen from them and being redistributed about the globe in one form or another. And if it's not doing that, it's being paid to huge corporate service providers to maintain hotels and things like this. Yeah. And that's where all the money's going. It's being siphoned off in huge quantities. And that's why we don't have a defense force. That's why the prisons are falling apart and everything else. The money is not going where it should. And right now, we have the population, I think, is at the largest it's ever been. It's never been higher in this country. And it's going up every day, increasing. And the lefties will tell you that means we've got loads and loads and loads of skilled taxpayers. If that's the case, why is GDP per capita going down and not up?
Oh, let me think.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've spouted on long enough.
Yes, indeed. Thank you all for joining Mr. Taylor and myself today. This has been a lovely little get-together and venting some steam. And hopefully there is going to be a positive outcome. I don't see one, but I could be wrong. And we just have to hope that something does positive comes out of this. And we all have to, as I said, I keep saying, you see, the thing is, people like Tommy Robinson, right? Jeff here, and a few others as well, and myself. And do you know what we're trying to do? We're trying to stop. We're the thing that stands in the way, okay, of what is to come, or what potentially is to come. All right? People who speak out against what is going on that is wrong. We are looking for political, sensible alternatives, and we are looking for a solution that is palatable. Okay? There are people waiting in the wings, have no doubt of this, who are the real far right, and incidentally the far left, who want a very, very, very different Britain. Oh yes, they want things to change in a very different way. Not just the far right, the far left as well. They'd have us all, the far left would have us all kicked out of this country. The far right would have another demographic kicked out of this country. And I mean all demographics. And we're talking about ethno-nationalists, yeah, who are not very pleasant people. Now, if it wasn't for people like Tommy and a few others out there, my goodness, where would this country be running to right now?
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for, again, people like Nick Tenconi and UKIP saying, look, we have a plan. This can even reform to a certain extent, or what reform was. Where else would this country be heading towards? What would the alternative be? I know what it would be, and it wouldn't be pleasant. So what we have to do is we have to keep ourselves focused on at least trying to do something positive. And the positive things are your neighborhood watch. Yes, I think voting reform right now, supporting it right now, even though it's an absolute cluster, even though, to be honest with you, what's going on with that party, some of the things being said, I totally disagree with. But it's the last chance. That's it. It's the last thing, because nothing else, unless, of course, Musk comes up with something brand new in terms of his funding for UKIP or for a party with Rupert Lowe and Ben Habib. Unless those things happen, what do you think is going to happen next? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and click the all option so you get notified when we put up a new video. We are trying to keep this, this channel going as best as we can. So thank you to all the Patreons and those who support us on PayPal and do super chats and all that, guys. Thank you. And if you want to
thanks very much.
support us, with Patreon, and there's a link in the descriptions box below. Fantastic. Jeff, over to you.
Well, now all that's been said, all I can say is let's keep our thoughts behind Tommy, and also behind those 3 prison officers and their families and friends who were so viciously attacked. And on that thought, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him. Goodbye.
Goodbye.